Losing their minds, free your mind, read your mind, read your mind. Body take a week to find the cost be like, never mind. What's on your mind? Put the pistol to your mind, blow your mind, control your mind. Mind freak, no sober mind, I'm so behind. But front line, you cross the line, you better know your lines. If you get out of line, I'll hang you with a clothing line, ring you out like an open line, keep you stake a whole line, them hoes P line. It's probably one of my favorite songs on here, but I said one of my favorite songs, not my favorite song, not the favorite song. My favorite song here was Mona Lisa. As far as, was this the best album he's ever put out? No. Under Pressure is still, to this day, the best album Logic has put out. Facts, not opinion. What's going on, everybody? Back here again with another episode of the Catch Up Podcast, which is still evolving, by the way. I still haven't figured out exactly the format of the show, but I know mainly it's going to involve music reviews, as well as certain conversational pieces about artists and things like that. Matter of fact, I do have one coming up in the bonus segment, because I'm just gonna be doing 2 album reviews for this video, but I'll tell y'all about the bonus content at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that, and I'll tell y'all what I got coming for some bonus footage. But with that being said, tonight's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Carter 5 and also Logic's Young Sinatra 4. So the timestamps will be down below in the description box if you're watching on YouTube, of course. If you're interested in a certain album, you can go to that point in the video. If you're interested in both albums, watch the whole video. And if you like it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to this channel before you click off this video, okay? But with that being said, let's go ahead and get caught up, shall we? Starting things off with the Carter 5, which was getting dangerously close to the Detox territory, that mythical album that will just never see the light of day. But thankfully, Lil Wayne got over his legal troubles and he was finally able to put out this music. Now, was the album good? I thought half of it was. So I'll get into that later. I'm gonna get into the good part first. I ain't gonna talk about the bad part. But I do feel like this album, as long as we waited, personally, it's not the album I wanted as a whole. There's way too many tracks. There's like 23 tracks. It's too much. Honestly, I thought that the first half of the album was all he needed for this, and it would have been a great overall for me. But I think the latter half of the album brings it down. I said I wasn't going to talk about the bad, but I'm freestyling right now, so forget about it. It's in the air now. So before I go all over the place, let me get back to the good. So I thought the album, as far as the concept of the album, if there was one, it was a very small concept. It wasn't like on a Good Kid, Mad City level, like a Kendrick. But I did like how he put his mother in his album, and she came in certain parts and basically talking about Wayne's life as far as his first pregnancy, and also possible suicidal thoughts and things of that nature. And I like how it also tied in with the album cover because it has him and his mother on it. So I thought that theme fit well within the album. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go not necessarily track by track, but like I said the first half of this album I liked. Along with some songs at the very end, like Used To, and probably the outro, which is Let It All Work Out. Those two, I like those. But let's go ahead and get into the beginning part of the album. Once again, like I said, Wayne's mother was spread it throughout this album, and on the intro track, she was basically telling how proud of Wayne she was, and that he finally dropped the album, and then she started crying, and this led nicely into the next track. So I thought this was a good sequence, or a good transition. Of course, the song is called Don't Cry. Even though starting the album out with that, the song is kind of sad. You think the intro of this album would, kind of be upbeat, but that's fine. Of course, this song was featuring Triple X Tentacion, who will not die. He's just like Tupac, right? When Tupac died, he didn't die. He was on everybody's damn song. So I think Triple X Tentacion is gonna be like that. So expect more Triple X on other people's song. But yeah, I did like the song, and also let's see here. Next was Dedicate. I like the chorus on that song. I thought it had a good hook, and basically he was talking about basically how all these new rappers basically come from him with the fake tax, screaming Subu and all that stuff like that. So but Uproar, I like this because of the special delivery sample. So I like that song as well. Let It Fly. I definitely like this song. Definitely with Wayne's verse on this song. Travis Scott did pretty good, but I really like Wayne's verse on here, and the rhyme scheme that he used on his verse, where he was ending every line with mind, or in the second half of his verse, he was ending every line with line. So instead of telling you, let me see if I can find some of these lines right here. Losing the minds, free your mind, read your mind, read your mind, body take a week to find the cost, be like never mind, what's on your mind, put the pistol to your mind, blow your mind, control your mind freak, no sober mind, I'm so behind. But front line, you cross the line, you better know your lines. If you get out of line, I'll hang you with a clothing line, ring you out like an open line, keep you stake a whole line, them hoes P line. It's a thin line, the double line. Okay, that's enough. But yeah, I really like that rhyme scheme right there. So yeah, it's probably one of my favorite songs on here. But I said one of my favorite songs, not my favorite song, not the favorite song. My favorite song on here was Mona Lisa. And not because it had Kendrick in it. Y'all know I have a bias for Kendrick, but that's not because of Kendrick. Kendrick just happens to be on the song, but this was a great storytelling song right here. And basically it tells you about the dangers of trusting a beautiful woman, and in this particular song, the woman is basically setting up the guy for a robber or whatnot. And I like how Wayne is singing from the part of the guy that's doing the robbing, and Lil Kendrick is talking from the perspective of the guy that is the victim. So also, I thought Kendrick did a little bit better in this song than Lil Wayne, just simply for the fact because he did more with his voice. Because Kendrick, he's real good with those voice inflections and basically doing different voices, stuff like that. And I like that. So I thought Kendrick had the upper hand on this. Just my opinion, But with that being said, other songs that I enjoyed, Dark Side of the Moon. I thought Nicki Minaj's vocals were pretty good. Like I said, the first half of the album I enjoyed, so I probably would say track 13, Dope Niggas with Snoop Dogg. I like the explosive sample from 2001 Dr. Dre on that. But after that, now I'm getting to the bad. This album kind of falls off. It was just, the rest of these tracks were just kind of like whatever. And my problem, this is where I get into the problem with the album, was it was too many tracks. There's 23 tracks on here. That wasn't necessary. I think it should, like 14, 15 tracks would have done good. Maybe 18. But 23 was kind of overdoing it. And I say from 14 to 21, that could have been taken off. And I like Used To, definitely with the Drago line, if he dies, he dies. And Let It All Work Out to close the album out. Even though I really didn't think it was really a strong outro, but I could still deal with it on the album. But yeah, those tracks that I mentioned earlier, yeah, you could have left them off. It was just too much fill on here, to be honest. And I think this hurt the project overall, because of those filler tracks that you didn't need. Like with my albums, I mean, I like no skips only. NSA, I like to call it. No skips allowed. I mean, so with that being said, that was really the only problem I had with this album. But also, I have to say that this album, as long as we waited for this, I still don't think this was the album I was looking for or expecting. Yeah, there was good moments on here. I like the concept, but I still don't feel like it was the album that we were waiting for. You know what I'm saying? I think it could have been a little bit stronger, but yeah, for the first half of the album, I like it. The second half, I can do without. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the Carter 5. So I don't know if this is the last hurrah. Will we get a Carter 6? Is this it for the series? I think honestly it should be it for the series, and Wayne should probably come up with something else, because with like series albums, it's always kind of hard to do those, and I'll talk about that. I'll tie that back in with Young Sinatra 4, which I'm about to get into right now. So that's pretty much it for the Carter 5. Let me take a small break, and I will be ready to get back into my next project, which is Logic, Young Sinatra 4. All right, going into the second half here. Logic, Young Sinatra 4. It's been a while since I have done a Logic review. Last time I did was his album Everybody. Bobby Tarantino 2. I was supposed to review it, but I never got around to it. Sorry, y'all. But as far as Bobby Tarantino 2, I love that project. Definitely the Indica Badu, man, that's my favorite song right there. But this is not about Bobby Tarantino 2. Just thought I'd give my very quick thoughts on that. So with this album, the way he rolled this out, I thought it was pretty good with the YS4 freestyle, which is a pretty good freestyle, even though the version on this album is a little bit slower as far as the tempo. So I like how he changed that up, but I'll get into that when I get ready to go to that track. But with that being said, he also described this as his best album. That's kind of how he put it out, and he had this Instagram post where he invited several of his fans, and they were basically saying, "Oh man, this is the best thing ever." And that's why I got kind of like, I don't know, because it's going to have to live up to something. And like I said, before ending my Lil Wayne review, I said as far as like doing series, as far as albums are concerned, and Young Sinatra is basically a mixtape series, but with this is an actual album. Even if it is a mixtape, it's an album, man. It's sold commercially, it's an album, okay? Even though it's a part of a mixtape series. So, but yeah, like I was saying, as far as like the dangers of doing sequels and series with albums, it's usually hard to live up to prior installments. Like with Lil Wayne, I think his best one was 3. I still don't think 5 tops 3. And also with like Eminem, he put out the Marshall Mathers LP 2, and people were gonna expect it to be like Marshall Mathers 1, of course. And honestly, that album was good, but it wasn't as strong as his first showing. So you already put yourself at a disadvantage by, making it a sequel, because you're going to have to live up to the prior installments of that series. And what was another? I was thinking of another example, but I forgot. Webby, Savage Life. Savage Life, the first Savage Life is the best Savage Life. Savage 2 was good too. Then after 3, 4, and 5, shit fell off. As far as was this the best album he's ever put out? No. Under Pressure is still, to this day, the best album Logic has put out. Facts, not opinion. The Young Sinatra series is basically boom bap inspired beats, and with this album, it felt a little bit watered down just because Logic has grown in success and become more mainstream, so that's to be expected. But for the most part, I did enjoy most of the production on this album, with the exception of some songs. But before I get started, there has been kind of like this question with me anyway: has Logic found his sound? Does he still sound like J. Cole? Does he sound like Kendrick, Drake, or whatever? Honestly, I think when I hear a Logic song, it's a Logic song now. Of course, you still hear traces of certain rappers, and I think that's just really inevitable. But I can tell you one influence I saw, that's specifically from J. Cole, the single, was it called crap Everybody Dies. And of course, J. Cole had a song called Everybody Dies, and in that song he was basically dissing all the little rappers and all that stuff, and Logic basically kind of did the same thing with this song as well, and kind of telling of his come up and everything like that. So this album was kind of like a reintroduction as a whole for Logic as well. But with that being said, we kind of heard, like, I won't say recycled lines, but it felt like a repeat of Under Pressure a little bit, with him talking about his father, how he came up, the stories we've already heard before. So I guess with wrapping up the series, as Young Sinatra is supposed to be the last one, I guess that kind of made sense in this album. But it did feel like some things, as far as lines and stuff like that, were kind of reused or rehashed. It feels like a rehashed story from Under Pressure, if that makes sense. But anyway, I'm kind of going all over the place, so let's go ahead and start with the first track of this album. Give me 1 second. Okay, so first track, Thank You, featuring Lucy Rose, who was also on the intermission track on The Incredible True Story. So I like that because I like that song as well, and I like her voice. Also featuring the Rat Pack. I was like, what does that mean, the Rat Pack? And then towards the end of the song, we got all these voicemails from his fans and stuff like that. You might say it was kind of corny. Maybe it went a little long. It did. I thought they could have cut that part down a little bit. But yeah, it was kind of overkill on the voice messages. But, you know, I guess the concept was pretty cool or whatnot. Basically saying thank you to all his fans and stuff like that. Of course, I talked about Everybody Dies earlier. The Return was also a single as well. Now, I said this on my last Logic review and I think other artists do this as well, is they put too many singles out before the album comes out. And when the album comes out, it makes the experience less enjoyable because you've heard the song already. It would be nice if maybe he just put out one single and let us hear the rest of the album for ourselves, instead of, you know, already wearing the track out before the album comes. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, The Return was cool. Glorious Five, I still really don't know the concept of this song or what actually is the Glorious Five. I know he talks about his dad and how he wished he was there, his come up, things of that nature. But as far as the concept of the song, I still don't really understand what the Glorious Five is. So somebody please tell me. I'm still trying to figure that out. But this was a good lead in into the track One Day, because the song, the chorus was like, some trying to find my way, I'm gonna make it one day or something like that, and then it leads into the song One Day. So as far as sequencing and transitioning, I thought that was good, but as far as One Day, this did not belong on the album at all. Too poppy. It was a good message, but it doesn't belong on this album. This is supposed to be boom bap. I didn't feel nothing was boom bap about this. This felt way too pop and way too positive. This was not the place for this. This is the traces of everybody that I was talking about earlier on. And also, while I'm on that, let me go ahead and just skip down to Ordinary Day, because I didn't like that either. The same thing, too poppy. I feel like he kind of tried to slide those in, for that commercial appeal. I could tell you those two tracks I did not like. Not necessarily not like. I just don't think they fit the album. I think I could listen to it. It's not like, oh man, one day let me turn this off. It's just it didn't fit on the album. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Wu-Tang Forever. Now, I thought it was great that he got the whole Wu-Tang minus ODB, of course. He got the whole Wu-Tang together, but man, this song was extra long because I forgot it was that many people in the Wu-Tang Clan. When I think of the Wu-Tang Clan, I think of Ghostface Killer, Method Man, ODB, who's passed, and RZA. RZA sounded kind of weird on this song. The only two I was looking forward to were Ghost Killer and Method Man, and both of their verses were good, but the song went way too long. There was really like, I think this song could have used like a beat switch or something like that, but it wasn't. The track pretty much just went through for like, I think it's like an 8 to 9 minute song or something like that, and it kind of does go too long. And of course, Logic starts out first, and I thought his verse was good as well, and he kind of had that Wu-Tang, flavor to him on this song. 100 Miles of Running. I didn't necessarily like this beat. It was kind of like a 80s type beat, but I did like the fast rapping on this, hence the name 100 Miles of Running. Wale did a great job on this song, and Logic killed this shit towards the end of the song, man. He was rapping so goddamn fast, man. I like that fast rap. I like it. All right, so going into Young Sinatra 4, which is the next track, we heard the freestyle. Well, some of you may have heard the freestyle, and I quickly noticed that on this song, but on the album version, it sounds different because he's rapping a little bit more slowly, and the beat is different, of course. And what I liked about this song, there was a beat switch towards the end, so you didn't just hear the part that you heard on the freestyle. He switched it up and did another verse as well, so I like that. But nothing else more to say on Young Sinatra 4. Street Dreams, probably, I have to say this is my favorite song on the album. I like the concept of this song, as far as him having this dream of his girl getting kidnapped, and towards the end of the song, it's him that actually kidnaps his girl or something like that. That was the twist towards the end of the song, and I like the beat on here as well. And I thought there was a nice transition towards the end of the song. I forgot who it was. Somebody's waking him up and basically saying, ever since you smoked weed, you always late to the studio. And then it goes to the next song, which is The Adventures of Stony Bob, which is basically a weed head song, because we know Logic smokes weed now. So on the last album, we learned that he was married because he mentioned that 10,000 times. And of course, he's biracial, which everybody knows that. That's the running joke of Logic. And now we know that he smokes weed. So, yeah. But still, this doesn't top Indica Badu. This was a good song, but I think Indica Badu was better. A better weed song. And it had Wiz Khalifa in it, who was snapping in that song as well. Legacy. I like the concept of this song as well. And basically, Logic is talking from the perspective of his future self, his family, as far as his wife and him, because of his success, not able to be there for his family and things of that nature. So I like that song as well. So Legacy is a good one. Iconic. use the Jaden Smith beat or a variation of it. I thought Jaden Smith was gonna be in the song. He had like a small little cameo. He talked, but that was about it. But the song was good. Logic did real well on this song as well, and it did have a beat switch as well. So it's another song that I like. Then the last song of the album was Last Call, and I thought this song was a good outro as well. It did have the same problem, even worse than the intro track, Thank You, which was he was talking like for a long time towards the end. But like I said, because this is the last Young Sinatra, he was basically reminiscing and talking about him coming up, being kicked out of one house to another house, to him finally getting his record deal and things like that. He talked about that. And normally I think this would be bad, but with the context of this album and the concept of it being the last Young Sinatra 4, I thought it was a nice way to wrap up the album. But Logic, don't do this anymore, because he did this same thing on everybody, and I believe that song was it was Anxiety, and he was talking for a long time. So Logic doesn't need to do it anymore. Stop it. Don't do that. Save that for a skit or something. Speaking of skit, I forgot to mention this. It did pick up the story of Kai and the other guy from The Incredible True Story that went on to everybody. And now in this album, you know, where they did the cliffhanger where this was supposed to be Logic's, where listen to Logic's last album. It's not his last album, but last Young Sinatra 4. So I think Logic kind of trolled us with that one, talking about it was going to be his last album. Rappers are liars. But anyway, I thought that was good tying in that story as well. But as far as this album as a whole, I like the album pretty much. It's something I'll go back to, but like I said, One Day, Ordinary Day, no sir. I will skip those every time. It does not fit with this album at all, and Logic shouldn't have put those on there. But I love you, Logic, man. But I gotta give you that tap. But yeah, I guess next up in line is Ultra 85. Which is what I'm really looking forward to. That's probably going to be another concept album, and hopefully we don't get another Everybody. So with that being said, that's pretty much my review on Logic and the Carter 5 as well. But before I go, bonus content that will be coming up after this, so it's going to be uploaded along with this video. I want to talk about Reason, TDE's new signee. I listened to his album, There You Have It, and I thought it was a pretty good album. I'm gonna give my thoughts on that, and also I want to talk a little bit about Joyner Lucas since I'm talking about Logic. When are we gonna get some new music for him? So if y'all are interested in those topics, make sure to catch my the catch-up bonus footage, which will be released after this video. So with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed today's review. Make sure y'all drop y'all ideas below, y'all comments and stuff like that. And once again, make sure to give this video a like if you did enjoy it, and also subscribe to the channel if you're still watching. But with that being said, thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Peace out.